Hi everyone, welcome to the 31st episode of ZEISS Micro Minute. My name is 𝗶𝗶𝗃𝗀𝗀. I'm an application scientist at the ZMCC. This is fantastic because let me check my video, sorry. I'm going to be talking about correlative microscopy today, and the topic is very exciting to me because we are surrounded by microscopes here at ZMCC. And what I want to show you today is essentially I go from the Axioscan, I'm imaging a brain section on the Axioscan, and go all the way to the LSM 900, imaging the very same brain section. And I don't look through the eyepieces ever, even once, and that's a promise that I will keep. So what I wanted to say in the previous slide was if you have any questions on chat, just put them on there, and I'll try to get back to these questions at the end of the session. So like I mentioned, today we will be imaging on the Axioscan 7. And before I do that, let me take you right to the story. So the story is that I imaged the brain section on the Axioscan with the 20x objective. And as I zoom in, you see the pair of neurons that I want to follow from the Axioscan all the way to the LSM 900. That's a color-coded depth projection that you see. And as I zoom out, there is a second pair of neuron that will pop up on your screen, and I will be imaging that as well. So the purpose of today's demonstration is for me to show you how I actually went about building this story. So let's go. Another kudos that I wanted to give is my colleague in the 𝗶𝗃𝗃 team, Jason Fung, who was very kind enough to segment the pair of neurons that you're seeing on the screen. There it is. And at this point, let's walk over to the Axioscan and get the slide that I want to scan going. I am in front of the Axioscan, our high throughput slide scanner. I have the brain section slide loaded on slot 3 of the holder. We can now open the magazine door, and I can load this into any open slot in the magazine. Close the door, and you'll notice that it quickly inventories all of the trays in the magazine, and the indicator light will go from blue to green, and we're good to go. This is the interface of the ZEN slide scan software that runs the Axioscan. We loaded our holder in tray position 6, and that's what you see up on the screen. I will go ahead and unmark all of the slides and mark just slide number 3 that contains the brain section that I'm interested to scan. And let's go through the steps to obtain a scan. So the first step, I have assigned a naming definition. How do I want my scan to be named? I have given it a storage location. Where would I like my scan to be saved? And I will now assign a scan profile for this slide from this drop-down menu. So let's select this one, which will scan my slide with the 20x objective. So with that done, all I need to do is start scan. So it's given me a preview which perfectly delineates my brain section with the green border. And what you see here in the progress bar is a coarse focus map being built automatically, followed by a fine focus map. In this case, I have 6 points assigned in the scan profile. So it's progressing through 1, 2, up to 6. I also have this box checked for acquisition monitoring. So currently it has just started to scan, and what you see is a live view and progress of the scan that is being built up right in front of our eyes. And as it progresses from left to right, you have the scan completed. And this took 1 minute and 16 seconds to complete. Let's take a look. So here is the scan that we just obtained. And as I zoom in, these are the 2 neurons that I want us to focus on. The ask here is I'm going to utilize this image to navigate on the LSM 900 so we can seamlessly follow and get to these neurons without much of an effort utilizing ZEN Connect. I also have another scan with an additional contrast method called 𝗏. I have this just to provide some context to the fluorescence image if we need it on the LSM 900. So this is scanned with an additional channel which is called 𝗏 along with the fluorescence. So with these 2 images, let's head over to the LSM 900 and get some high resolution images of these 2 neurons. So let's transition over now to the LSM 900. So I'm now going to get this slide that we just imaged on the Axioscan onto the LSM 900. So let's do that. That's about it. I'm not going to be taking a look through the eyepieces at all and just transition onto the software. With the slide now on the stage, let's transition over to the software. I am running ZEN version 3.11. The first step is to create a ZEN Connect project. So to do that, I'm going to expand this tab and click on Create. Let's assign a project path by creating a new folder. I'm going to call it LSM 900 session. Select that folder, give it a project name, and the next step is to input a project overview image. To do that, I'm going to utilize the image that we acquired on the Axioscan. So I'm going to use the Axioscan image as my overview image and click OK. This launches us into this correlative workspace within the ZEN Connect project file that has stage control to the current instrument, which is the LSM 900. So the next step is for me to find the sample that's on the slide without looking through the eyepieces as I promised. So I'm going to click on this tab that says AI Sample Finder. Doing that launches me into this wizard, and it will quickly create an overview image of the slide and utilizing the special condenser on the instrument. It gives me this dark field composite contrast image of the brain section that you see on the screen. The next step is it creates a blue border around the sample carrier, and it tells me it's a cover glass and automatically delineates the brain section with a yellow border. With this overview image created for me by the AI Sample Finder wizard, I can switch over to my ZEN Connect workspace. So moving forward, I am going to be operating only via the ZEN Connect workspace, which allows me stage control with the microscope. So if you are used to working via the navigation and tiles, I will tell you that we would be utilizing just this workspace moving forward. So the very first step for us to carry out is to align this overview image that we got from AI Sample Finder with the Axioscan image, which will allow me to navigate on the Axioscan image. So to do that, I'm going to highlight the overview image in this ZEN Connect tab and click on this button that says Align System under the Alignment drop-down menu. Doing that will highlight my overview image, and I can drag this over, and you will notice that the image is flipped in orientation compared to the Axioscan image. So I can utilize this feature here that says flip vertically, and it'll flip the overview image, which matches my Axioscan image, and move it right over. But you'll notice that it is a layer under the brain slide. So I can adjust the opacity of the brain section just enough that I can move the overview image on the Axioscan image as perfectly as I can and click on apply. I can bring down the opacity all the way, and there you go. I have now aligned my stage coordinates with my Axioscan image. At this step, I can utilize the many objective choices that I have on the system. So I might switch over to the 20x objective and utilize one of the pre-configured experiments that I have on the instrument. So I will highlight the confocal channel. Let's go to a place that has a couple of neurons. And when I double click within the workspace, it will trigger this message that says, by double clicking within the ZEN Connect workspace, it triggers a stage moment. So I'm going to click OK and go live and try to find my sample to the best possible focus. There you go. I see a couple of neurons. Snap. We just need a 2D image at this point. And while that's acquiring, I can head back to my ZEN Connect workspace. There you go. There is my 20x image that I just acquired in the confocal mode. What you will notice is that it is slightly off compared to the Axioscan image. So you can utilize the align feature. Before I do that, let me highlight the image that I want to align. So highlight the image, the 20x image, click align, and align it onto the Axioscan image. So if you notice, there are these two parts of the neuron that match with the Axioscan image. And so I'll hit apply. So to check if I did a decent job in aligning, I can hide the image, look at the 20x image, unhide, and see that it perfectly lies right above the Axioscan image. Just with that one simple alignment step, I was able to get within the time frame that we went live to navigate on the Axioscan image, get a snap in the confocal modality on the LSM 900, and align it with the Axioscan image. Now, if you remember, we want to be looking at these two neurons on the LSM 900, but I want to utilize the 63x oil objective. So at this point, you can continue to image on the Axioscan image by navigating, by double-clicking, and continue to take images. But because I want to switch my objective over, I'm going to just move out into this space that is very conveniently marked for me by the overview image. I'll just double-click there and very quickly apply some oil by switching my objective over to the 63x oil objective. So let me do that. Now, in order to show the work with the 63x oil objective, and in the interest of time, I'm going to close out this ZEN Connect project and open a previously created ZEN Connect project. To get a perfect alignment with the 63x oil objective, I utilized the additional contrast channel that we have on the Axioscan, the TIE channel. So let me highlight that image and walk you through these two channels. So if you notice, as I zoom in, there are these features on the tissue section that show up as dark spots in the fluorescence channel, and these act as natural fiducials on the tissue section for me to utilize to get a perfect alignment. So I utilized this feature with the 63x oil objective. So let me pan over to this area right here. I collected a 63x oil objective image, and let me hide this particular image so you can see underneath the feature that I was trying to align. So I did a quick system alignment with the 63x oil objective, and with that in place, all I had to do was double click on the two neurons of my interest on the overview image. So if I go back and remind you, let me open up the brain section again. So I double clicked in the ZEN Connect workspace on this particular area after aligning with the feature that I just spoke about. So by doing that, I was able to get to my two neurons of interest that I call the neuron pair. And here is the 3D Z-stack image. It's a 40 micron Z-stack acquired with the Aries scan detector. I'm actually playing through the Z slices within the Connect project. Let me double click on this image right here. It'll open up as a separate file, and we can visualize the two neurons in a much better view here when I click on the 3D volume view. So clicking on that will give me this fantastic representation of the two neurons in 3D volume. There you go. These were the two neurons I was trying to follow. So with that, I hope you had a good idea of how we can go from one instrument to another without ever having to look through the IPs. So utilizing ZEN Connect is such a powerful way where I can control the stage coordinates right from the ZEN Connect workspace and utilize the overview image that I get from the Axioscan, for example, and use that to navigate on the second system. And all this with just a module that we utilize as ZEN Connect, and export it to tell your story. So if you have any questions, please put it on the chat. And any questions about the workflow, please feel free to reach out to us. I want to end by saying that we come live every Thursday at 1 p.m., but we also have workshops that we do in person and virtually. So these are called skill builder workshops, and you have the QR codes on the screen. Please use your phone and try to navigate these web pages and try to sign up for upcoming workshops that we have. If you have any training need, we have many video tutorials on the ZEISS portal and upcoming live stream as well. So thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you next week, same time. Bye.